On Tuesday, November 15th, we will be doing a lab entitled Phase Changes of Water. And in that lab, you will be starting with a mixture of solid and liquid water around 0 degrees Celsius. You will be creating a heating curve showing the melting of that ice and the heating up of the water up to and including the phase change between liquid and gaseous water. In order to do so, you will be collecting data every 30 seconds, recording that data in a table, and you will then use that data to construct a graph. From that graph and the data, you will then be asked to answer questions that you will then turn in as part of your lab report. Most of the apparatus should be set up when you arrive. You will need to take your test tube and fill it approximately half full with a crushed ice water mixture. The exact amount in the test tube does not matter, so just quickly get your ice and water in the test tube and begin the lab. Once you have the ice and water in the test tube, you need to place the test tube into the red holder. And if you look at the bottom side of that red holder, you will find that there is a piece of wire at the bottom. Please make sure that the test tube slides all the way down into the holder and makes contact with that piece of wire at the bottom. It should rest firmly in that holder. Once you've placed the test tube into the holder and it is resting firmly on the wire circle at the bottom, you need to slide the blue plastic lock toward the ring, and that will clamp down on the test tube and hold it in place. It will also make sure that the heater is making good contact with the test tube and heat is being transferred to the test tube properly. If you do not do this step, your results will not be as accurate as we would like. Also, the process will take much longer. It will take much longer to transfer the heat to the ice, and you may not be able to collect all of your data or get good data in the time we have available. Once the test tube is properly in place, place the temperature probe inside the test tube, making sure that the metal tip is in the water-ice mixture. The power button for the LabAid machine is on the bottom side. If you pick up the LabAid device and turn it over, you will see the little red power button. Make sure you power the device on. You will notice on the left side of the device there's a button that says Setup. If you press that button, it should bring up a menu as you see in the picture here, and we can then go ahead and begin setting up the machine for the experiment. So if you press the setup button a second time, rate should be highlighted, and we can use the left and right arrows to under the set button to be able to change that setting to 10 seconds. Press the button again and samples should be highlighted, and use your arrow buttons to change the samples to 50. This means that the device will capture 50 samples, one every 10 seconds. So it's going to collect data every 10 seconds for 500 seconds. After you have pressed the sample button again to return to the menu, please press the heater button as shown in the picture. Use the heater button, should take you to the set point menu. Use the arrows to change the setting on the set point menu to 150 degrees Celsius. Then press the heater button until you return to the graph screen. After you have returned to the graph screen, it should display a temperature. Record that under time 0. That is your initial temperature. And then record the temperature every 30 seconds until you reach the 500 second mark. Also be sure to record the time at which all of the ice melts and the time at which the water begins to boil. If you miss any of the temperature points, you can use the device to go back and access the data after the experiment is completed, but use that only as a last resort. It is not a convenient way to access the data. Once you have recorded 500 seconds worth of data, then you may turn off the machine, dump out the water, and clean up your area. Please make sure your area is neat and dry when you are finished, all your trash is thrown away, and that your data set is complete up to and including 500 seconds. Once everyone has finished collecting their data, each person needs to graph the data and answer all of the questions in Part 3 and Part 4 of the lab sheet. That is your lab report.